Thank you so much for joining us here at Lovely Being You. Have you noticed that a lot more people are finding themselves with a pet? And these aren't just regular pets. These pets are supporting animals. You know, someone might have a snake, someone might have a dog, someone might have a cat, someone might have a bird. They say that people with pets are more compassionate. And I kind of agree with that, but also you have to think about it. Pets also pick up on their masters as well. I once had a roommate years ago who had a dog. And this dog never took to me. That dog was so angry with me. And it didn't take me long to figure out that this dog didn't like me because the person didn't like me. Now, you can call the dog a diamond in the rough. This dog had puppies. And out of all the puppies, one puppy really liked me. But this puppy did not take to the owner the same way. You see, animals do have loyalty. And because this person had anger every time they saw me, it wasn't hard for the dog to pick up on it. And the dog would snap at me. This is another reason why we were roommates. I didn't want to pay for the air conditioning bill because she would want the air conditioner on 24/7, and I left around 8 in the morning, if even that late, and I didn't get back in until 6. The only time I was really home is on the weekends. And she wanted me to pay for the air conditioning bill for these dogs. And she kept saying I was a cheapskate, but in all honesty, I didn't feel that it was fair. The good thing about animals is that they give you insight to who this person is. There's a guy recently who had a pit bull. And with his pit bull, he seemed to love this dog. But he decided that he was going to sacrifice his dog after joining this group and realizing that he had all these different talents, so he thought. One thing we don't do is we don't sacrifice another life, regardless of. God gave us all a life. And even though you might think that somebody will not miss this animal, you can't do that. It's almost like unaliving a person. Now, I'm not trying to compare animals to people. But if you think about it, it's still a life. I even remember years ago my spiritual advisor telling me about the blood on a woman's hands when she has an abortion. We all have common sense, and sometimes we don't always receive common sense at the same time as others. We all have, or should I say, a certain percentage of common sense we all have. But more importantly, we all have to really look at life differently if it's so easy for us to compromise someone else's life. When God created us, I'm sure that He had the best way of seeing us. And the more dirt we do, the more negativity we find ourselves doing. The more tests we have, God is still watching, still observing, still seeing what it is that we'll do with what He gives us. Let's say God was to put $1 million in your pocket right now. Now, before that $1 million landed in your hands, you probably said, oh, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to do this. But when you actually have that money in your hands, sometimes that can even be compromised. Families sometimes will feel that you don't deserve something because they have their own views of you, own images of you. And they'll decide to take certain things in their hands. That's also a test. God will set you up like a chessboard and allow you to see which way you want to go and allow you to do certain things. But it's just a test for you to prove that you can make better choices. We don't always see it that same way. We don't see it as a game of life. We don't see it as, as being a big deal, especially because it didn't hurt you, it hurt someone else. But when we look at life and we look at the different tests that we will come up against, we have to figure out the best way possible, the way that's not going to hurt or should hurt the least amount of people, the way that's going to allow us to learn and grow, the way that's going to allow us to be better people. Now, we might not see it the same way when we swat a fly, because a fly has been bothering you. You might not see it as a big deal as rodents, because we all know in certain places rodents are overpopulated and people find them very uncomfortable, especially because they can carry disease. So you're going to call the exterminator, and that might be a little different. Either way, it still is a life. So let us begin to pray over the decisions and the choices that we make, because sometimes life can be full of tests and we don't exactly know how we're going to pass this one exam that God has given us. So if we can go to God and pray and ask for direction, it might not be as hard to make such choices. Thank you so much for joining us here at Lovely Being You.